to be working with Australian products that are changing the lives of so many, and especially at a time like now that we've been through and we're still going through this whole immune, we need to keep supporting our immune system with the COVID-19 and so forth. More and more people are jumping on the bandwagon on how can we support our immunity, and it's really, there's nothing wrong with vitamin C, but we need to also support our white blood cells, red blood cells, and really create this, fertilise our internal home. And this is what I'm going to be speaking to you today about Key's Natural Immunity range, and we call it the Immunity Community. And I'm going to take you on a journey with that today. And also what I'd like to share with you today is that this whole range, and we can go to the next page, Chloe, this whole range was prepared by Dr. of Chinese medicine, who very much, it wasn't just a herbalist, but he was an Australian practitioner who spent 15 years living and teaching in China, and he selected really high potency herbs that have stood the test of time, and we've built on that range. And he was the same person who prepared the Harmony range and the Zen range. And we have to really remember that our immunity is who we are in this home, our internal home. Our immune system is our body's natural defense system, which needs to be ready. It's like you need a Ferrari these days. You need an internal Ferrari engine to keep you fighting against any form of infection. We know that our immune system are the white blood cells, antibodies, lymphatic system, spleen, our bone marrow, our thymus. And we really need to have this fertile garden growing that keeps building our immunity so we can fight any invaders that step in. And more than ever before, families are jumping on this bandwagon, and we want to support the whole family to stay well together. It's not just about one person any longer boosting their immunity. We need the whole family, and this is what we've created with the Key Immune Defence range, a range of products that supports the whole family. Every member at home can be part of this, and this is what I love about the Key range. We've actually got and I'll take you very quickly through this slide, and then we'll go through the individual products. This is the family of the Key Immune range, and what I really love, we go with that first pack, the blue pack, and that's the Trinity of Herbs, but that's your 365 days of protection. Now, remember, it's not just when the winter comes, we need 365 days of protection, and that's what that immune defense and energy formula. You cannot have energy with a low immunity, and that's why I call it the 365 days of protection. However, if an invader does come in, if you get a tickle in the throat, you're getting headaches, you know you're coming down with something, you must stop the blue box, which is your protection there, your defense, and you must move into this orange zone. And I call it the orange zone because it's a reminder that the blue is there as to keep your immunity up. But just say an invader comes in, we've got andrographis instead of astragalus in this formula with the ginger and the zinc to keep up that fight for 7 to 10 days to get you better. And that's all you want, to get you better, ready, and away you go back into your 365 days, and you go back onto the Key defense formula. However, we found that some people needed something for the night because their symptoms were worse at night. So Martin and Pleasance, being innovative, created this cold and flu day and night formula, which is exactly like that Key cold and flu formula. During the day, you've got your day tablet, and then you've got your night tablet, which actually has the wild mint, the magnolia, and the lemon balm that gives you a soothing night's rest, but also does for you what you needed to do during the day, and that is to deal with the symptoms, boost your immunity so you wake up more refreshed. Again, there's 30 tablets, and my clients use that in the week, and then they go back onto that blue box. You do not take the 2 orange packs, one or the other, depending on what suits you more. And the ginger as well and the zinc are the standout herbs in this formula, but remembering that you must be on andrographis, not astragalus, when you actually get a fever. So you need to actually have that fever dealt with, boosted the immunity, and then you go back. The other champion product here is your allergen hay fever control formula. This is a formula that I highly recommend for any individual who suffers from hay fever. Do not take this formula just when the hay fever season hits. I actually recommend that you take this 8 to 12 weeks prior to your the hay fever season coming, so you're actually boosting the immunity. And a lot of people still don't realize that your immunity needs to be again, as I speak about that Ferrari engine, really tuned in to giving you the best spring possible, best time to overcome your allergies is by looking after your immunity. And this is, you do not take the blue box and the green box. This is the formula that's targeted for you. And then what we found is people needed something there and then to deal when they're going on to the cold and flu attack. They needed something for their throat. We created the throat spray, which I'll go into more detail. But really also here, as I said, this is a whole family, a range of products for the whole family. We've got the kids' cough and cold liquid, which has not just got ivy leaf, which is very common. Well, I call this the awesome foursome herbs that unite together to treat the whole child. Yes, there's sore throat, the chesty cough, but also children complain of sore tummies, and that's why we added the licorice in this formula. And then we've got this beautiful roll-on, which really is a standout with the eucalyptus and the peppermint, which I'll go through. But remember, they're highly potent, natural and scientifically researched ingredients. Thank you, Chloe. So let's go through what I was speaking about, the key immune defense and energy formula. Again, this is a formula that I would like to see everyone take. And the reason I love this formula, it boosts your white blood cells, delivers immune system support and energy production for more energy and stamina. But something that I wanted to share, and I'll have extra notes that Chloe can send each of you as you're completing my training. I wanted to highlight for each of you that the shiitake mushroom is rich in B vitamins, and a lot of us go straight to a B vitamin to be activated. But what I love about the shiitake mushroom here, it actually being antiviral, antibacterial activity within the cells provides a stamina, but rich in B vitamins and vitamin D, and also works in lengthening your telomeres. So it's also anti-aging, and we've never really correlated anti-aging with immunity, but more and more people are finding as we keep strengthening the immune system, we have more oxygen, we're breathing a lot easier, a lot better, but our energy is driving us to move a lot more, and we're fighting off any allergens coming into the body. And this is why I love this trinity of herbs with the astragalus, shiitake and the olive leaf. We all know how important the olive leaf is here. Again, I speak about promoting healthy digestion, and when these three, it's the synergy of herbs. Martin and Pleasance really work in creating these synergy of herbs that work in well together to actually support in this formula chronic fatigue, recurring infections, especially for busy professional, frequent travellers, for ongoing stress. And we're linking in poor immunity with ongoing stress, because when you've got a lot of stress in your life, you're not taking care of yourself. So this is your go-to, one tablet morning and night, and again, all made in Australia. We own the factories in Martin and Pleasance. So, and there's it's a natural coating. There is nothing artificial in this formula. Again, to prevent infections, for you to recover a lot quicker, and it's for 365 days a week. I've always found that when, thank you very much for the question. I've found when you work with the olive leaf, shiitake and astragalus, that they can be taken on an ongoing basis. It doesn't affect the liver as much as the andrographis, and that's why we recommend the andrographis short term. I can do a little bit more research, but we've actually worked into the parameters. See, a lot of people will just take olive leaf and they'll take about a really high dose of olive leaf, and that's all they'll take. And what I love when we work with synergy of herbs, they work to target and they work in together. So you're not really taking that really extreme high dose of one, which may put out other things happening in your body. But I'd like to come back to you on that question. Thank you. We can go on. Thank you.
I was just going to say, Suze, as well, I'm happy to just monitor the questions and get to them at the end if you like.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. So this is very much the breakdown of the formula that we talked about. And I've got here what we all know, that it strengthens your immunity. And remember, immunity is not just there to be strengthened whenever it breaks down. You do not take a car for a service just when it breaks down. You do not change oil only when you think that it needs oil changing. Our body's no different to an engine, depending on, and I call it the Ferrari engine. I would like all my spark plugs, I would like all my everything, all my organs to be functioning at optimum levels. And this is why this is very much the spark plug, the 6 spark plugs that we need in order to get us from point A to B every day of our lives. I don't have time to become unwell. Every day is a potent day. And when you take key immune defense and energy formula, you're actually able to build a strong immunity. So no matter what happens in your day, in your life, you're able to navigate your way through that. And remember, astragalus being a potent herb, it tonifies the liver and kidneys. It also works in with people who've got high cholesterol, great for the heart, strengthens. But if you are on cholesterol medication or blood pressure medication, the reason we say speak to a health professional working with you, because your medication because you're going to start having healthier liver, healthier kidney, stronger immunity, you may not need that high dosage that you've been on. And that's all I say with that one. Again, with the shiitake mushrooms that I spoke to you about, and I've got extra notes for you, rich in B vitamins. The formula as a whole lengthens your telomeres, but again, it's here to build stamina. And how does it build stamina? Because of that, rich in B vitamins. And then we've got the olive leaf, antibacterial, antiviral, but strengthening the whole body. So when you've got this trinity of herbs, it's like you're getting your va-va-voom of your immunity. You're actually opening new gateways for your blood to flow better, for you to have the gates up whenever there are invaders, and people recover a lot easier. You know, a lot of people say, you know, I've been doing so much, but I seem to be able to, after 3 p.m, I've even got so much more energy. What I recommend with this formula, we say 1 tablet twice a day, and I recommend that for at least 6 to 8 months, and then see how you go. And some people move to 1 tablet a day after that, and they just stay on this formula. Thank you. So this is where I spoke to you about why I love this formula. I'm a really passionate practitioner who loves ginger. And when you combine ginger with the zinc and the andrographis, you're actually fighting the virus head on. You're recovering quickly. We put there the ginger for the congestion, but it's really a first stage of your the common cold and the flu, the sore throat. The minute you receive a tickle, the minute you feel dehydrated, the minute you're starting to get a bit of a fever, and we all know what it feels like, don't leave it for 5 hours, 10 hours on the next day until your throat really, you can't really swallow. We recommend that you immediately stop taking your key cold and flu and you go straight to this formula. We've actually put here at the first sign of infection fever, take 1 tablet twice a day. I found that as a practitioner, my clients might take that more frequently. And as I said, it's that 7-day attack where after the first 2 to 3 days, people are back to themselves and they continue. You do not stop taking this formula after 3 days, you do the whole dose, and that's why we've only got 30 tablets there. Again, relieves the headache, reduces the fever, relieves the nasal congestion and that sore throat, because andrographis helps you recover and it really hydrates you as well. But again, we've got to be cautious with this herb. Some companies will encourage you to take it all the time, but it's not for that. It's really to target. It's really to target that that fever and bring you back home. When we've got a cold and flu, what happens? We're out of our body. We're not functioning. We're not back home, and we're not able to even sit comfortably in our body. We don't know whether we want to lie down. Then we get the cough. What do? This is the formula that walks with you every step of the way and says, "Don't worry, I've got your back. I'm going to attack this with you." And we've got the clinically tested calm cold. It's part of which is the andrographis. So we've got scientific backing with this formula. And we've got here improved sleep and fatigue, the andrographis, sore throat, congestion. But when we've got a fever, the body's saying a bug's got in, I'm not feeling well, please give me something that's going to attack this fever. And this is where we've got this andrographis. The fresh ginger also is a decongestant, strengthens immunity, induces sweating. So I, even with this formula, will grate fresh ginger and I'll have it in hot water with a little bit of manuka honey. So I've sometimes, when I'm going through, if I've had, I love this, I recommend that every household has the cold and flu attack in their house for any member of the family who does get the sniffles or becomes run down. Again, with the zinc, provides a support for immune function, and it's shown to reduce the duration of severity of the cold and flu symptoms. When this works in, there's nothing wrong with taking zinc, taking ginger, but when you put all this together with the mineral, the fresh ginger and the andrographis, you've got the power available to actually reduce that fever, get you back on your feet, and again, get your stamina back. So you're then ready to get back into your body so you can start getting on with your life. Thank you. So this is what we've got. Now, this is the day and night. Remember I said it's exactly the same as your key cold and flu formula, but we found that some people, their symptoms became worse at night. It's for that person, that customer who says, which one is better than the other? They're not better than each other. What I love about this formula, you've got the andrographis, ginger and zinc, but you've also got a nighttime tablet that will act as a decongestant as well. But sometimes when we're coughing too much, we're not sleeping well, so therefore you're not going to recover as quickly. This is your go-to as your night tablet. So you take your day tablet, and then there's a different color. It's purple with your lemon balm, magnolia and the wild mint, a really soothing, natural tablet that will reduce your cough, relieve your nasal congestion, relieves the headache and fever and the sore throat. Because a lot of people will take the key cold and flu, and then by the time it's 8 p.m, they find in the first 48 hours that their coughing may become worse if they haven't nipped it straight away. And this is this go-to for that immune support, promotes a restorative sleep, but also clears your chest, a decongestant, natural decongestant. Thank you.
Sorry, Suze, did you want me to go past this one again?
This is great. I just wanted everyone to see what I'm speaking about. We've gone through the andrographis, the fresh ginger and zinc, but when you look at your lemon balm, and we all know, I sometimes just pick some leaves from my lemon balm plant and I'll put them in hot water, and it's beautiful to soothe sleep. But it's also in this formula to work in with the wild mint and the magnolia to act as a decongestant. Yes, so you don't wake up half asleep because you've been awake all night. because you've got the cough and cold or the flu. Again, the ginger in this formula, as you know, strengthening the immunity. All in all, this is a formula that targets that person who is quite congested during the day, and they're hoping that if they go to sleep, they'll actually be able to get over their symptoms and feel better. But we've actually taken that guesswork away for you. We've actually created the solution for you to get over your cough and cold during the day, but also at night, we're providing you with that warm internal blanket that's going to make you feel better, sleep better, and have a stronger boosted immunity, so you get over your cough and cold a lot quicker. Thank you. And this is this came out, I think, only about 18 months ago. And what I love
So it's jumping in. Sorry, everybody, for my interruption. So this is totally new to the market, just launched a couple of months ago.
I meant for in Australia. Yeah, thank you.
And a lot of people, I'm sure, would love a great amount of focus on this.
Okay, very good. What I love about when this was being made, and we spent a lot of time making sure, one, that we had the right ingredients, but two, that nozzle actually, a lot of nozzles on these other little throat sprays linger in your mouth, and by the time you get them targeted into your throat, we don't know, it's sort of a hit and miss. This is really a targeted nozzle that's actually going to relieve a sore and inflamed throat, and it delivers anti-inflammatory and antiseptic actions to the site of pain. A sore throat very much is so uncomfortable and can derail us because we think, oh, what's the use? Here I am. But what I love about this formula, that it goes so well with the cold and flu attack, either the day and night or the orange box. So it's a real targeted duo effect where you've got the tablets and then you use this a few times a day for localized action. So you are supporting your immunity. You've got your health back on track because you're defending your health naturally with the Japanese honeysuckle and the Manuka honey. So I recommend this at the first sign of a throat, of a sore throat, and don't let a sore throat just, I'll get to it by 5 o'clock, I'm too busy. Right here, right now, if you've got a sore throat, we have the solution for you. And this can be used up to 8 times per day, 5 doses to the back of the throat every 2 hours. Can be used, and it's up to 8 times a day. So it's natural or as directed by a health professional. Thank you. And here's this formula here. Again, we've got, that's why we made the key cold and flu for the children. This is more targeted for the adults 12 years and above. When we've got the echinacea, the clove oil, naturally derived excipients, which include the Manuka honey and the Japanese honeysuckle, well, I would highly recommend that this be for anyone over the age of 12 years old, and we use the other formulas that I'm going to be speaking on, the key cold and flu for the children until the age of 12. I think it's from 4 years old in Canada up until the age of 12. And I know some 12-year-olds won't want to be called children, but that's how I go with this one. Again, anytime there's a mild fever, natural anti-inflammatory is the Japanese honeysuckle, relieves the sore throat, and we all know the benefit of echinacea. But when you combine echinacea with the Japanese honeysuckle and the clove oil, which is anti-inflammatory, and you get that nice antiseptic effect, you're actually being able to get on with your day because you've got this spray in your hand going into your throat, which is going to carry you for you to get better every moment, every day. If we look at our cold is totally our responsibility, I'm inviting you to consider how are you going to get through your day if you do have a fever, if you do have a sore throat. we are providing you, your customers, a solution for that sore throat and the common cold. And what I love when we added this clove oil, and it's really pleasant tasting. I don't know if you've, I really wanted, when we were making this spray, something that was palatable, something that you would feel comfortable taking on an ongoing basis. And a lot of people have said after they've had their 8 doses, they're feeling back on track. This is not something that, this can be in your, this can actually be in your handbag, and it's used. It's not something that you just, some people will take it for the 7 days, but usually within 48 hours, you're feeling so much better, and you continue with the key called flu attack. Thank you. And this is the other formula that I spoke to you about. And a lot of people say to me, Susan, with your, in this formula, we've actually used astragalus, and there's a lot of clinical studies linked with this, that if you take 9.12 milligrams of astragalus and you're boosting the immunity, people found that they had a stronger immune support. Their immunity was supported, and they were able to get on with their day, and their hay fever and allergy symptoms were dealt with. So this is what I love about this formula, because it's a natural immune support formula, but also has natural antihistamine action, relieves the sneezing, relieves the itchy eyes and the runny nose. But again, it's not there to take whenever you get your symptoms. If you've been a long-standing or someone who is quite sensitive when spring hits, or when the pollen's around, or you're developing this quite an allergy-prone, you're breaking down a lot sooner, this is your go-to formula. You do not take the green box and the blue box. They both have a high dose of the astragalus. The Reiner MP means that we get a standardized astragalus, which means that we will always provide you with a high potency astragalus, and astragalus is the key hero herb in both our key immune and our key hay fever control. And we had this formula in Australia go to people who worked on the land, and they came back and they said they had the best spring. So we always support the farmers, especially who are on the land, and they found that they were able to get on with their day, and they stayed on this formula for at least up to 6 months, and they found they had the best time. Hay fever is not just seasonal. You need to boost your immunity so you can build resistance to your allergen attacks, but also it's an ongoing hay fever and allergy control system that we're providing for you. And this is the breakdown of this formula. So the quercetin there, decongestant, that you've got the expectorant, we've got there the clears the nasal passages, but also hay fever is different for different people. When I was a school teacher, I used to be in bed for ages, for 2 weeks every spring, because of these the allergens that were around, the pollens and so forth, and I naturally built my immunity up, so I now live hay fever free. So it is about strengthening the immune system. It is about working with the herbs, and this is the key here when you've got your astragalus, magnolia, fresh ginger and the quercetin all working together. So when you look at magnolia, the reason we chose this, it also alleviates the nasal inflammation linked with sinusitis. Just because you've actually gone in for a procedure, and a lot of people say, I'm going in and I'm going to get my nasal passages cleared. If you do not strengthen your immunity, if you do not take the herbs that will naturally thrive in your body to be your best system of attack, you'll keep duplicating your allergens in your body, because your body hasn't got the fight. This formula fights hay fever for you, fights allergies for you, so you can actually stand up and say, I am going to face this hay fever once and for all, and I'm going to attack it because I'm building a strong immune system. Thank you. This is one of my favourite formulas. Oh, thank you very much, Jim. I love your questions. So how long should I take on the allergy formula? I would recommend, if you've been a long-standing sufferer of hay fever, I would say that if your start of your spring is, I haven't got my timing, I think it's March. Is that the start of your spring, Chloe? So when
you're
so
right. It seems to be a little bit more ongoing this year. I don't know if everybody else can agree with me on the line, but I feel like I'm sneezing all year this year.
But we've had a change to our daily life, you know, like, and a lot more people will get these show signs of hay fever because they don't have a lot more people have spent time indoors. So we're going to get a need for a lot more boosting of the immunity. And people who have suffered from allergies may have a heightened allergy year this year and would need to stay on it for a lot longer because it's not been a normal year. But I would say to Jim, I would start at least in January. So by March, you've had 8 weeks of this boosted, and then you take it well into September. But a lot of people will use the key hay fever control as their immune boosting, and that will be their choice of medicine. But at least if you're first using this, I would actually say that you stay on it for at least 4 to 6 months. And that's myself as a naturopath saying to you that I would build this up in your body to fight there. Again, I've never really known, unless it's something I've formulated, something that you've got on your shelves called allergy relief. That's to carry in your handbag for here and now, those symptoms. But this is a targeted attack with the allergy formula, the hay fever. And people say, can I still take my sinus tablets, you know, like my Telfast and so forth with it? Again, yes, you can. But what we're finding is people no longer need to depend on a whole box of Claritine or Telfast or whatever's used in Canada, because they're actually boosting their immunity. This is not a band-aid effect. We have solution-based formulas that target your core, refertilize your core so you can actually blossom during spring, that your trees look like that most beautiful blossom tree, and you're not scared of the blossom. So that's what we do now. And Jim, I'd like to come back to you on that one if I've cleared that up for you. This is one of my favourite formulas because, as I said, and we've here suitable for children 4 years and over. I love this formula because, again, we've got not just ivy leaf in this formula. We've got the echinacea, licorice, and Japanese honeysuckle. I've worked with children. I've studied children. I was a school teacher. And I don't know, children become overwhelmed when they actually have a sore throat. Again, as I said, they don't like eating, their tummy's sore, they don't know what to do with it. And what I love about this formula, it's very comforting because it eases the cough and clears the chest, but it's fast symptom relief, but it soothes that sore throat, and that child's getting back to themselves where they can actually have their appetite back. And that's so important in nourishing the child, because a child can become dehydrated very easily. Japanese honeysuckle, naturally anti-inflammatory, relieves the sore throat, but this formula also reduces the mild fever, and reduces the mild fever from the sore throat, but also allows the child to feel more comfortable. Children have 8 to 9 coughs and colds a year. It's just that there's all these little studies that have been done. And this, we've actually been part of, we found that when children have this formula, they don't break down as easily over and over and over again. Any questions with that one? Thank you. So with when we created that key kids formula, and we talked about the awesome foursome, and that's what I wanted to share with you. Yes, ivy leaf is great, but again, the way we target we don't just say we know that there's a lot of research done on ivy leaf. We then come up, we worked with Rod Burgess. We didn't just come up with this formula. For Rod, who's an expert in these herbs, who said, if we put in a little bit of, if we add licorice to this, that child will feel a lot more comfortable also with their digestive tract, that will soothe their throat. It will bring back the inner harmony that just one herb won't do it. Nothing wrong with just one herb, but with a child, you want a solution that's easy to pick up for the child to like the taste of this formula, for the child to love the taste of this formula, and it's in a natural berry flavouring in this package, and children enjoy taking it. The last thing you want is a formula that children do not like the taste of, and this naturally soothes the child, that over the day they'll be able to continue taking it. There's no need, we may have the best herbs possible, but if we do not bring it together in a flavour, in a natural tasting flavour that 4-year-old and above will enjoy taking, that child's not going to reach their goal of getting better. And we also take that into consideration. Again, we do not buy this formula already made. It's all made by in our premises in Australia. So everything goes through great testing. And this is the other duo. I love our Key Kids formula, but I do it as a duo, because when that child is snuggling up to you, they're feeling lost, they're feeling agitated, all they're doing is crying, we created this roll-on with the eucalyptus oil and the peppermint oil that you can actually put on their feet, on their chest, on their back. I also recommend it for adults as well. It's one of the most easy, and I encourage parents to travel with it. You just don't know when your child may catch a little bug. You do not know your child, you're driving on a holiday or you're driving them out on a weekend, and they say, they haven't told you they've got a sore throat, and by the time they get home, they're just screaming, they're crying. But if you've got this duo of the roll-on plus the key cold and flu, you're actually able to target 2 solution-based remedies for that child to actually get back into their body and enjoy getting out and playing again. So again, this Kids Chesty roll-on being all natural ingredients in a roll-on device, and we're renowned for these innovative products that we produce, because you don't want to use creams, because you don't want to get all the eucalyptus oil and peppermint oil on your fingers. This is an easy application, and it just supports sleep, antibacterial, also relieves sore and tight muscles. Again, the chest is beautiful, the back and the feet, and the child feels like you're spending great quality time, and they'll recover a lot faster. But again, I wanted to say no petroleum, no parabens, paraffin-free, suitable even for those children who have sensitive skin. The other thing that I'd like to say, you do not apply this on open skin, because the peppermint and eucalyptus may feel like it's burning for that child, yes? So you can apply it around if there's any cuts there. Again, non-greasy. So all in all, what you're seeing with the Key Immunity family, a solution for every member in your family, yes? So when we talk about children under the age of 4 years old, we've also got things like the tissue salts that I've helped formulate with the kids' tissue salts, if you wanted a solution for children under the age of 4. But again, every member in your family, instead of worrying whether your son or daughter is going to catch the cold, by actually having the Key Cold and Flu and the roll-on in your cupboard, you're actually prepared. So you can boost the immunity of your whole family by simply taking full responsibility and making sure that you're prepared to have your family immunity supported. You know, all of us in this day and age with everyone where, you know, this whole COVID fear and so forth, we need to take responsibility for our families to protect them 365 days of the year. And I'm so grateful that we have these solution-based formulas that will target that breakdown of our immunity, because not everyone knows when that little bacteria has just stepped in and said, ha, 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 I'm in. But it's not going to break you down because you've got key immunity, the key range in your household. Are there any questions?
But Sarah's actually, I will, given that you're kind of jumping in like with the questions, I do have one. Sorry, let me just find it. I'm curious to know what would cause someone getting the spins, so I guess nostalgia, from taking astragalus. Would it be dropping a person's blood pressure by any chance?
Yeah, so the thing is, that's what I'm probably saying. Again, if you've got a sensitivity and if you do have low or high blood pressure, usually people are on medication for high blood pressure. And the whole thing is that these formulas are aiming for you to reach your equilibrium, your balance. What happens is if you took key immune, which has got the astragalus, for instance, and you were on a high blood pressure tablet and you never told your doctor, and that's why I say your health professional, what happens, and I'll send you all my notes about them being potent liver and kidney herbs, you're actually fine-tuning balance at the core of your cells and the way you absorb that medication. And that medication that you're on, because your blood pressure is high and you need to be on it, may be too high at that time and may cause some dizziness and so forth. And that's why I say, if you're on any prescriptive medication, you must work in with your health professional to let them know that you're on it, so they may need to fine-tune your prescriptive medicine. If you do experience low blood pressure and you're low in iron, naturally I would recommend, that means you're quite sensitive, instead of doing the 2 tablets per day. So for example, I'm a sensitive constitution, so I started this with 1 tablet a day. The recommended daily dose is 2 tablets per day. But what I'd like to say is, if you've got a sensitive constitution, you halve the dosage that's on this package. Does that answer that question? So getting back to the astragalus, for example, it regulates diabetes, and I'll send you these notes, acts as a natural anti-inflammatory, protects the telomeres from degradation, and it really protects your genetic data. Isn't that amazing that we're responsible for protecting our genetic data? And this is how important astragalus is, because it stimulates your immune system. We look at taking an activated bee, we eat activated nuts, we eat activated food. But if the core of your immune system is not stimulated, all that money you're spending on activating all this is not being absorbed as well as it should. And that's what I love about the astragalus. It's stimulating, yeah? And again, protects the cardiovascular system. When we look at shiitake mushroom in this, for example, it actually maintains healthy blood pressure, yes? So when we look at that, the shiitake mushroom rich in the B vitamins, and it actually maintains healthy blood pressure. If you do have high blood pressure or on high medication, this shiitake mushroom in that key immune formula is going to regulate your, to maintain a healthy blood pressure. So therefore, it's changing the way your blood pressure is living inside your body. It's changing your cholesterol levels because it's more easily breaking fat out in the body. So if you're on cholesterol medication, you need to be speaking to a health professional, because your cholesterol medication is very much also acting as a band-aid, because you've got far too much cholesterol in the body, and the doctor, your health professional is protecting you from a heart attack and so forth. But by taking the formula which has the shiitake mushroom, it actually naturally will decrease your cholesterol levels. So these potent herbs that have been chosen, and we call it key immune boosting herbs, they're changing the way you live inside your body. They're supporting an immune system by driving more energy because your organs are being supported. When we look at something that targets immunity, this is your, and that's why I called it your Ferrari engine. We need it so switched on in this day and age, more so in 2021, because we haven't been out a lot. Now we're in Australia, for example, and I know in Canada, we're going to start getting stronger and we're going to need to boost our immunity. But that fear will never really leave us for another few years. So I'm asking everyone, how are you going to look after your immunity? And why I love speaking about the key immune range, it's so relevant. No longer is immunity only during the time when it snows in Canada, when it's very cold. This is a 365-day solution that we're providing for all your cells and your customer base to actually drive in this message. Boosting your immunity is not just when the weather changes. Boosting immunity is our responsibility every day of our lives.
I'm so sorry. I think I was on mute when I was trying to, but just 2 questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
For the key allergy, does it help with the histamine levels at all?
Yes, so it's actually going to, when we go to the allergy formula, it actually, a lot of people have their histamine levels are over, it changes the way you deal with, changes your histamine levels because it boosts your immunity. So therefore, you're not going to have the problems associated. It's like a natural antihistamine. Yeah?
Right.
It's not a Band-Aid effect. Does that make sense with the quercetin in there? So yeah. What I've got, and I can do, so quercetin is found in onions, green tea, red wine, and apples. Prevents viral illness that I've got here, but it's actually enhances the immune system because you've got more fight in you. So the reason we get the dry eye, the itchy eyes, the reason we want to sneeze a lot, the reason we want, we've got our body not ready. So all that's showing we can no longer use a Band-Aid effect, or those nasal sprays that we use and for 8 hours we don't actually have the dripping of our nose. Now, why is that not the solution? Because every day you're going to have to do it. What we're saying with the hay fever control and allergy control, we're building your immune home so you can actually live in that day without the symptoms that drive you mad, that you feel, is this going to happen for the rest of my life? Yeah. So do you want the Band-Aid effect, which sometimes we all need because we've got a presentation to do, we're running around, or do you want to treat the root cause of why you experience hay fever and allergies? And what I love about astragalus, it actually makes the body resist the debilitating effects of stress and alleviates your allergies. Yeah. And it prevents the release of histamines, which cause the allergic reactions such as runny nose, itchy eyes, and other irritating symptoms. But what I love about this, it boosts your general strength of your immune system. When we were trained, even as naturopaths, for myself over 30 years, no one really talked much about the immune system. We're really highlighting that your immune system is responsible for the joy you have in your life, for being able to have 365 days of a Ferrari engine, being able to sit comfortably within your body. What sort of a year do you want? And if there's a lot of people have, someone will say, I've had my clean. That's fine. That's one part of your wellness jigsaw puzzle if you're a hay fever sufferer. But that's only one part of 4 pieces of your wellness jigsaw puzzle. You need to boost your immunity. And if there's something that I drive to each of you today, and I wish I was there with you because Chloe knows how much I love Canada, and so does Mark and your team, is to say we need to become immune warriors. That means that we are totally responsible for the way we deal from this day forward with our immunity. How do you want to feel, look, and what sort of energy do you want? All starts from your immunity. It doesn't simply start by taking an activated B complex. Yeah? Are there any further questions with that?
There's none in the chat, Sue. I think it was really good.
Because I'd love even some emails. What I'd really love to do is actually send my notes that I did, my extra notes for practitioners, which I'll email to you, Chloe, and that way it just breaks down a bit further what each of the herbs do and how they fight the infection. And when I speak about immunity, it's not just if you've become unwell, and we all know that. This is, you know, how can I say, this is the, I'm just trying to, you know, this is the Joan of Arc. We need to actually have our own force field around us and inside us to protect us from this day forward. Yeah?
Right, that would be fantastic. Sorry, I'll be sending an email to everybody with the recording and the training manual. So.
Oh, that's great. And then I'll send the extra notes, Chloe, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And I'd love the team who've been on to select and try if they've never tried it, yes? And remember what I said.
Everyone once completing the quiz can select a product for themselves.
Oh, that's lovely. That's great. And remembering what I said, that I'd highly recommend that the cold and flu, either of the orange boxes, be in your home, in your first aid cabinet, and again with the kids range, and you stop that key immune formula if you do experience any the start of a fever, because astragalus perpetuates your fever. Same with hay fever, Chloe and the team. Same with hay fever. If you've got an infection with your sinuses, you're getting a fever, you must stop the key hay fever and allergy control formula, because it's got the astragalus, and you take one of the orange boxes, yeah? The cold and flu attack. The reason being, both those, key immune and key allergy and hay fever, both have astragalus. Infected sinuses are the same as having an infected, you know, cough and cold. Must stop because it's got astragalus in it for a week until you feel better, until the fever's gone.
Right. Perfect. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, I think that's it for this evening. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. And I think I've just
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Stay in touch. Bye-bye.
Bye.